This happened to a group of 3 friends during their weekend outing. Early in the morning, Pan had driven his car to Zun's house. This guy was always sluggish. Pan had waited more than 20 minutes for the guy to get ready. And of course, right the moment Zun walked out of his house, he was scolded severely by his friend. But Zun couldn't break his bad habit of being a slow coach, and it took him then another 10 minutes to finally hit the road. There was also another guy named Leo who was in the car with them. He was always chosen to be the driver for the group. As Pan loved sleeping while the car moved on the road, Zun was completely opposite of him as he never sat still. The destination was a mountainous area located not too far away from the city. This time they visited a sacred pagoda. Less than 2 hours later, the 3 of them had finally arrived at the destination. The area was quiet and unspoiled as the clean and fresh air made them feel extremely comfortable. It had been a long time for the group of 3 friends to travel together. Needless to say, they were extremely excited as they started climbing soon as they got off the car. They talked enthusiastically to each other while making their way to the pagoda. It only took them a short time to get halfway up the mountain, but it wasn't an easy task to get through the other half of the mountain though. "Come on guys, we're almost there," Pan said. It was safe to say that Zun was not only the slowest person out of the 3, but also the weakest. "Slow down guys," Zun said in his tired voice. Pan grumbled as he heard his friend calling him. He stopped midway, waited for the slowpoke to keep up with him. After an hour of walking, they eventually reached the pagoda's gate. The gate was made of stones, looking pretty old as the words engraved on it had been blurred. Zun was completely wiped out as soon as he arrived. Meanwhile, Pan and Leo couldn't hide their excitement on their faces. The pagoda had a unique design as it looked antiquely. There's one thing worth mentioning here. Zun was a bragger on social media. He quickly reached to his phone and took pictures of everything he saw at the pagoda. He even took selfies next to the statues, which was very offensive of him to do it at a sacred place like this. But Zun seemingly didn't realize how disrespectful he was as he just fixed his eyes on the phone screen. While picking out the best picture out of the ones he had taken in order to post it on Facebook, Zun instantly got startled to see a hand placed on his shoulder. Turned out there was an abbot standing behind him. He was dissatisfied with the guy's inappropriate behavior. The abbot pointed at Zun. His face changed color as he said, "Please be careful with your action. This is a sacred place. Picture taking is forbidden under any circumstance." Zun was extremely annoyed. He expressed his anger by saying the abbot was a selfish person for not letting him take pictures. He was also told to delete the ones he had taken to avoid having troubles. Of course, with a guy who was as stubborn as a mule like Zun, he wouldn't easily give in. As Zun walked away, the abbot still followed him and demanded the guy to remove the pictures as it would be very dangerous if he insisted on keeping them. Seeing the abbot speaking loudly and the annoyed expression on Zun's face, the 2 companions were surprised as they believed their friend had caused trouble again. Pan went to the abbot and asked him what happened. As he fully understood the situation, he apologized to the monk and told Zun to delete the pictures immediately. Zun expressed his annoyance and he walked away. The 2 other friends shook their heads in disappointment as they hadn't even prayed to the gods yet. When they got in their car, Pan once again told Zun to remove the photos but got completely ignored. As the group continued their journey, they drove down to town and booked a hotel to stay the night. That night, Zun was laying on his bed, busy picking out the best photos to get them posted on his Facebook page. However, Zun suddenly acted bizarrely as he instantly sat up. But his action was not the only thing odd, as he also had a serious expression on his face. Zun felt like there was something wrong with the photos. It was unknown how, but his selfie pics had become mysteriously blurred. Even some of them were so badly displayed that he couldn't recognize himself in them. Not only one, but most of his selfies had been blurred. Initially, the guy thought there must have been something wrong with the camera, so he took a picture to check. But the photo was completely normal as there wasn't anything blurred in it. Zan then opened the front camera and took a selfie. He instantly got startled by the photo he'd just taken. His face was deformed and blurry. Feeling scared, he told his two friends about it. As Leo was drifting into sleep, he was awakened by Zan's voice as a guy was knocking on the door. It looked like he was losing his patience to get a convincing explanation for what had happened to him.
How spooky it is. The selfies I'd taken at the pagoda somehow had my face totally blurred in them. Do you think there's something wrong with my phone?
Leo couldn't go back to sleep after he heard the story from his friend. He told Zan to hand him the phone, and got completely confused afterwards. Leo had no idea how the selfies had ended up being like that. After thinking for a while, they decided to go to Pan's room to tell him about the incident. It was Pan's idea to go to the pagoda, so he must know a thing or two about this place. Pan's face became dark as he saw the pictures. Even though the group of friends had been to many places, some of those were the mysterious and unspoiled, but it was their first time to encounter such a scary thing. According to Pan, the pagoda was a sacred and mystical place, so there must be a high chance that Zan had been punished for his disrespectful behavior. Zan didn't sleep that night. He couldn't close his eyes as he imagined the terrifying scenario that would happen to him in the near future. As the three friends were deprived of sleep last night, they looked worried and fatigued. Before heading back to their home, they decided to go to the bakery to have a bellyful and to get their mood lightened up. Since it was a popular bakery in town, there was no table left for them. As a result, the three friends had to sit on a table with a stranger. Little did they know that there was a group of thugs holding weapons aggressively approaching their table. Just a few seconds later, a fight had broken out. The man in a blue shirt who sat at their table was a debtor, and those ferocious thugs were here to collect his debt. Even though Zan had no intention of stopping the fight, a thug unexpectedly shifted his focus and attacked him. The thug stabbed Zan in the stomach. It happened so fast that both Leo and Pan were completely ignorant of the situation their friend got in. Blood was splashed as Zan collapsed on the ground. Leo and Pan instantly panicked with the help of the bakery owner. They got an ambulance to rush the man to the hospital. As Zan had been taken to the hospital in time, he was saved by the doctors. After the surgery, Zan had fainted for a day. Leo and Pan took turns to take care of their friend. As Zan finally regained his consciousness, the first thing he saw was two of his closest friends by his side. Pan looked at Zan and said, "I believe you have learned your lesson from this incident. Take this as a warning, and don't you ever take photos at a mystical place again." As the man finished his sentence, he took out Zan's phone, then took a picture. Pan later told his friend that he and Leo had went to the pagoda again and asked the abbot to remove the curse from him. The photo, which had been blurred before, now turned to normal. It's safe to say that from now on, Zan would never dare to take a photo again.